Good morning. My name is Lizette, and I am one of the kids who aged out from Harvest Children's Home. I think she's already said it. And I am here with my husband. He's outside, and a baby. Okay, so today I'll just be sharing my story with you. Why I went to Harvest Children's Home. That's me. That's how little I was when I went there. So I went to the orphanage when I was 8 years old, and I lived there for 10 years. So I left there when I was 18. Why did I go there? Actually, my mom is still alive, but I went there because my father died when I was still 4 years old, and I come from a polygamous home. That's one thing I have to say. My father had 4 wives. My mom was the last of the wives, and he had 32 kids altogether, and I was the last. So you can imagine one man having 32 kids to cater for, and all what he had was a piece of land. He was just doing farming, and every other wife had to care for her own children. My mom had 7 children to cater for from her own piece of land that my father gave, and but just 1 year after my father died, my aunt, my mother's younger sister, died, leaving behind 2 boys. So my mom had to take those boys to take care of them. So she had 9 children to take care of them from a piece of land. And among those 9 kids, my older brother was mentally ill, like he was literally mad. He was on the streets. So she invested most of her time trying to bring him back home and get some healing for him, try to make him well. So it wasn't, she was physically there, but she was never in our lives. So she was looking for a way to distribute the children, looking for places where she could keep us. So they would raise us for her so that she can concentrate on the one that was sick. And what she did was, my elder brothers, the ones that were older, they had to go to the coastal part of the country to fend for themselves. And my older sisters went to work in people's houses just so they could get food to eat and maybe dresses and all that. I and my younger cousin, we were too small. By then I was 7, 6, 7, and my younger cousin was still 4 or 5, so she couldn't send us to, nobody could accept us like a maid in their house. So luckily for her, she heard about the orphanage, and she was so happy to take us there. That's why we went there. So I actually went there with my younger cousin. So I'll be telling you what Harvest Children's Home did to me. That's just what I wrote, so I'll be sharing my story. Like I said, I am 26 years old. I am married. Clifford is outside with our baby. That's my husband. And I lived at the orphanage for 10 years. I left there when I was 18. That was when I was going to college. So I already spoke about this. Okay. So I'll be sharing what the Harvest Children's Home did to me. The first thing was a new family. I said it already. My mom, she is still alive, but she was never really present. She was never in our lives. I longed for that family. I was too little. I needed a family, and I was so happy that I could find it in Harvest Children's Home. I met a lot of kids, I have so many brothers and sisters. We actually have an alumni group where we still talk, we still discuss. We have a very big family, and we equally have amazing staff back there at Harvest Children's Home that filled the gap of a mother and father in my life. So I never really felt like I was missing my mother, because they were always there, and I had brothers and sisters to play with all the time. The next thing is a new hope. Before I went to Harvest Children's Home, I was in primary 4. I don't know what grade it is here in America, but I was in primary 4. And one thing was, we were always driven for school fees while I was with my mom, because she couldn't afford it. So I was wondering, and there were times I would watch my mother cry, like she would literally beg for death to take her. She wanted to die, and she didn't know that it was affecting us. So I knew that at one point my mom is gonna go like my aunt, and we'll be left alone. And so I was always thinking. But when I went to Harvest Children's Home, I found out that there were other kids who didn't even have any of their parents. They never had their father nor their mother. And there were some that didn't even know their families. They didn't even know any brother and sister. So I kind of felt at home. I had hopes for that. And one thing too is when we used to go out, like when we go to school, we were little, so we always had like other children make mockery of us, like, oh, you're just an orphan, you guys are just from the orphanage. Like, we used to have some like mockery from other kids all the time. Yeah, but every time we went back home, the staff will always remind us that you are special children. You are not just orphans. So they gave us that hope. They gave us a reason to live. They made us know that we are not different from any other child. We are just special. We didn't ask for our parents to die or whatsoever. And one thing too is when I was 14, I was a teenager at that age, I started feeling like, the reality of life, I started feeling like, okay, my biological mother is somewhere and she is not in my life. Yeah, I had that feeling, and I started feeling like I'm not loved or something. And, excuse me, please. So there was a day I was standing in front of the dormitory. I didn't know that anybody was around me, and I just said it out loud. I said, nobody loves me. And I did not know that Ngala, one of the staff, was in the dormitories. So he listened. He listened. He heard what I said, and he came out and told me that you are really loved. Whatsoever we say to you, whatever we do here, we just want you to be the best person in life. So those words, they really meant a lot to me. And yeah, I'm really glad he spoke those words to me. He gave me hope. He reminded me that I am loved. And another thing too, when I finally graduated, when it was time for me to go to college, I had a problem choosing my major. So I was that kind of kid that would just go with anything, that whatsoever you present to me, I'll just go with it. So when I was about to choose my major, I wanted to study biology. So thank you. So I told the director then, it was Pastor Ful, that I want to study zoology, which is animal biology. And there it had two options, either real animals or humans. In my mind, I wanted to study humans. I wanted to concentrate on humans. And I don't know how to put it. So he was like, okay, you want to study animal biology. Why don't you, will you just do animals? And I was timid. I was just like, okay, yes, I will do the animals. He discovered that this is not what I want to do. I want to concentrate on humans, but I'm just saying this to please him. So he told me, you are big enough. Think out of the box. These were his words to me. Don't let anybody intimidate you. Do what you want to do. And then I was able to open up and tell him, no, I don't want to concentrate on animals. I want to concentrate on humans. So that was a huge relief for me. Yeah, that was what made me to go through college successfully. So I am really, really grateful for Harvest Children's Home and the amazing staff that they had. The next thing is the relationship with God. Before I went to Harvest Children's Home, I never knew how to pray because, like I said, my mom was always busy. My brothers and sisters were literally never there, so nobody was there to teach us how to pray or even talk about God to us. But at the orphanage, every day we have devotions, morning, evening, and you pray every time you eat. And yeah, they teach us a lot about God, and I'm so grateful for that. Today I'm a Christian, and I believe so much in God. And I say I'm so grateful for Harvest Children's Home. And education, like I mentioned, before I went there, I was always driven for fee. And by then, primary school was 1,000 francs. That's like $2. My mom could not afford that. So all my brothers and sisters, nobody has ever completed primary school. So I'm actually the first graduate in my family, and the cousin that went with me to the orphanage, she just graduated from the agricultural school in Bambili. So when I went to the orphanage, they gave me an education. There was never a day I was driven from school fees right up to my college. I was so blessed to have a sponsor here. Her name was Jenny Smith. So this is just a picture of me. That's when I just went to college, and that's my graduation picture. So I'm grateful for that. And the next thing is food. Before going to the orphanage, we had a lot of problems with food. My mom had just a piece of land, and she had to take care of 9 children from that piece of land. There were days we'll go without food, but at the orphanage, we had 3 square meals. That's actually the first time that I heard about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I never knew anything existed like that till I went to Harvest Children's Home. So I was really blessed to be there. Clothing and shoes. So one major thing was we always prayed for June to come, because every June Christy used to visit, and that was the first time in my life I was given the opportunity to choose a pair of shoes for myself. Like every time she comes in June, she will take us to the market, and you have the chance, the opportunity to choose a pair of shoes. We were always looking forward to June, because she always came in June. So every June, we're like, oh, Auntie Christy is coming, we'll get new shoes. And she always brought dresses, clothes. People donated clothes and socks and all the stuff, towels. We are so grateful. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything you people have done for us, your prayers, your support. Anything you've ever given to this ministry wasn't in vain. I'm just a testimony. We are so many. I mean, I think more than 200 children have passed through Harvest Children's Home, through the orphanage. And if you ask any of them, they will tell you they were blessed to pass through it. And I just want to tell you, thank you so much for everything you do. It's not in vain. You are helping a lot of people that you don't know. You are actually saving lives. Thank you so much.